Had a nice chat with Matt.
Yeah, got all caught up, huh?
Yeah. Heard he was umpiring, he was at the service. They-
Yeah, he's been umpiring.
Yeah, he said he, but how many did he umpire?
Yeah, like he did a tournament one weekend, so it was like 4 on one day,
Yeah.
4 on the next,
Right.
or something like that. I don't know, but I was like, wow. Okay.
Then
Then
I
I'll always
asked him-
say, how'd it go? Well,
I said he,
I wasn't really on my best game.
Yeah.
I'm like, you're the I'm
I heard you were he was behind the plate.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
that's
I'm like, anybody yell at you? No, there's some grumbling sometimes.
hi Carol.
Hello. Hi. How are you? I know. Can you tell? Boiling out there. Yeah.
Yeah, he said orientation was like,
Yeah, a couple weeks ago we went up there right before the wall of smoke crossed the lake where we could see it sitting above the other side of the lake from where we were watching the sunset. So that's what hit us
yeah.
when it finally moved. But yeah, we were up there. We got to talk to coach. They're redoing the field, which is very exciting for the baseball field. It's supposed to be ready in the spring, but I'm not sure how that works when you're way up in Minnesota. Like, how will it be ready by then? But that was like exciting news. So
Are they putting in artificial turf?
no, it didn't sound like it. But it's one of those old ones. It's kind of like in Verona by the ice rink there. They
Yeah.
have that field, that older field that has the covered
Right.
bleachers just behind home plate. It's kind of like that.
Yeah.
So they were redoing that, making it a little more handicap accessible too, which was good because I was looking at them like, your grandma's never gonna get here. Not gonna be able to watch you do this. But they're redoing that part and then probably re-sodding or whatever. Putting in better dugouts, I think. They look pretty old.
Yeah, yeah.
But it was exciting to be up there and get it all figured out. So,
Yeah, right.
yeah. He's ready to go.
Is he,
I'm ready
is he?
for him to go.
Yeah.
I'll remind you, right?
I know. But it's a nice drive. There's lots to look at.
How
and
far?
7 hours.
You'll be staying one weekend.
Oh yeah, yeah. I'm trying out an Airbnb apartment to see if I like it. So rather than staying at one of the many motels, the canoe on in, the
That sounds
motel.
fun.
It's hilarious. They all have these funny ears. Wow. I'm ready for the I'm gonna die. say, I'm like, well, I'm glad you said you know. She said, oh, it's good to see you. Yeah, he was in touch.
My family. We both have been made, so. Yeah, I have a friend in that.
Yeah, like all excited. He's pretty good. Can't keep track of his stats, but otherwise he's a good guy.
Yeah, he's a good checking my phone to see if anything sucks.
Those are usually the ones that stay up and stuff. That were just checking.
I'd rather read than watch TV anyway.
There you go.
Sometimes I read a lot during the day, but you know, I'm
No, why would you want to do that? I have to make eye contact.
Well, I always see over there, it's like people that and then I thought, you know what, I couldn't always hear people in my reading. They can contribute values, skills, you know, there's big things that
Okay, we're going to get going. So, welcome everybody. I'm glad you're here. And does it sound okay? Okay, good. All right, so I'm glad it worked out in your schedule to be here this evening. And so we're looking forward to sharing with you the summary report of our listening sessions that we had this past spring. So as we begin, I'd like to offer this prayer. God who brings us together, we ask for your guidance, wisdom, and support as we begin this gathering. May we have a sense of your abiding presence. Help us to engage in meaningful discussion. Allow us to grow closer as a group and nurture the bonds of community. Fill us with your grace as we discuss our ideas and seek understanding from each other's perspectives. And may this time and our interactions bring glory to you and enhance our connections with one another. Asking this in Jesus' name, amen. So before, so the council members, some of them are going to be presenting the summary for each of the questions, but I thought it might be good to review with you how the process was developed, so you remember. First of all, after going to multiple resources and reading a lot about mission and vision work, and then I also talked with other clergy who's taken groups and churches through mission and vision work. I came up with questions that I would ask in the small groups. And then I tested the questions on the council members. And then after that, I talked with Rachel Bauman, who is the association minister. And with her help, I did some revisions of the questions. And so that's how I came up with the 5 questions that you all answered. And then everyone, of course, was invited to sign up to attend a small group. And I had those offered in April, May, and June. And this is how we did it in the group. So when people arrived at the group, I had each person take some index cards and a pencil. And after I made some introductory remarks, I asked them the first question. And so the first question was, what is the purpose of Windsor United Church of Christ? And so I gave them time to think about this, and I instructed them to write their answer on the index card. And I waited until everyone was finished with writing their response, and then we shared with each other one by one what was written, what each person wrote. And we started this way to encourage individuals to think for themselves rather than to be influenced by the group. I then asked them the second question that was related to the first question: why does this purpose of Windsor UCC matter to you? And then the same again, taking some time in silence, they wrote out their responses, and then we all shared after that question. And then the third question, what do you most want to see happen at Windsor United Church of Christ? Again, the same way. And then the related question to that was, what would need to change to see this happen? And again, the same process was followed. So then the last question was, what does it mean to make a commitment to Windsor United Church of Christ? What would this look like to you? So we had 8 groups. I also met with a few people individually because they weren't able to make it to any of the groups. I encouraged them to come, but it wasn't going to work. But they wanted to participate. So in the end, I had about 76 people who participated, which included 7 youth. So once those listening sessions were completed, I typed all the responses into a Word document. And there were only 3 or 4 responses I couldn't type out because I couldn't read the handwriting. I tried and tried, but almost all of them were correct. I put them correctly into the Word document. And then I used AI in a positive way, and it generated a summary for all of the 5 questions. And I'm so grateful for that tool because I would be subjective. And I feel like doing it with AI got a more objective summary of the responses to these questions. So tonight we'll share with you a summary of responses, and then we're going to go through each one of them one by one, give you time to read the summary, and then there'll be time for questions. And I'm so grateful for all of you who could participate in the process and for being here also tonight. So, okay, we're going to hit it off with the first question. And Nancy, do you want to come up? So take time to read the summary. Yep. Take your time reading. Oh, sorry, that way. I have plenty of copies.
Nancy, they need a few over there.
Okay, it looks like people have pretty much had a chance to read through them. Now I'm going to read a brief overall takeaway to this question. What is the purpose of Windsor United Church of Christ? Overall takeaway is that while phrased in many different ways, the responses converge on a few core purposes. They are worship, community, love/service, and spreading the gospel, with inclusivity and care for others as a unifying thread throughout almost all answers. So, after having time to read this, and not much time to think about it, but what are your thoughts? That's what we want to talk about for a while now. Your reaction to this? David?
I'm not saying we should change this or anything, but in the last few verses in the book of Matthew, Christ said, "Go ye therefore into all nations, baptizing them in the name of the Father and of the Son and of the Holy Spirit." And so I would say spreading the gospel, that should come first in the list here, and then worship, community, love, service, with inclusivity and care for others. Those come after spreading the gospel.
Yeah.
That would be my only suggestion.
Yeah, I hear what you're saying. I think they were ranked.
Joan, summarize what he said.
Oh, I'm sorry. David Norby said that, according to the book of Matthew, that spreading the gospel should be number one, and then worship and fellowship come after that. I think, my understanding is that the ranking of these was based on the frequency of responses in the cards that filled out. They weren't ranked by anybody's sense that priority, that this is more important than that. It was just the frequency of the responses on the index cards. But yeah, hear what you're saying.
That's maybe getting pretty nitpicky because everything else out there, I mean, that is so far.
Yeah. Well, other thoughts? Yes, Don Adams, yes.
I think it's a good summary of a lot of the things that our church does and should do, and kind of in that theme. I think there's a kind of a sense of covering many different subjects, but I think putting in the unified theme, I think that this is a good starting point. So that's all.
So I hope I can rephrase that. Don said that this is a good summary of kind of what's important. Is that a correct way to rephrase what you said?
Would it be possible to pass the mic?
Oh, no, we don't have one available. This is what we have. Yeah, it is hard. My short-term memory is not that good. Okay, other responses before we move on to another question?
Joan,
Oh, Shar.
I would,
I
as,
thought it was
as
the
a
voice
person who sits in the,
It was-
was sitting back here, I couldn't hear anything anybody was saying.
No, and it's hard to rephrase. It really is, because like I said, but I think it was the voice of an angel talking to me. Thank you, Shar. Okay, that would be great. Okay, you did it. Okay, all right. If I'm going to jump in and say what I think. When I look at this, I think, yes, this is why I have belonged to Windsor United Church of Christ for 40-some-odd years, because we are about worship and connection to God, and we are about fellowship and community. We are about spreading the gospel. We are about outreach and helping others and compassion and spiritual growth and education. I mean, we are about that, and none of those things surprised me, but yet it was very gratifying to see that other people identified those things as foundational to what's our purpose. And I think if we, do things to make progress on those purposes, we're going to do well. And we'll be doing God's work. Anything else anybody has to say before I sit down? Dale,
Yeah, I just,
let me get the thing.
Yeah, you did do
All right.
opera voice too.
okay, all right. The biggest thing I got out of this, and it really did, it just hit me. that, Yeah, we're all part of this community. We're part of the church. We're striving to growing, but in the end, each of us has just a short time here. So why don't we reach out and I'll just use myself. Just use me to be someone to lean on. Because when my time comes, it's somebody else's turn. And let them be another leaning post.
Mhm.
That's my idea of the whole thing.
Yeah, passing the baton. Any other thoughts? Okay, we're going to go on to page 2 now.
Why don't you, I'll work behind the count. You get enough?
Yeah, just, yeah, yeah.
Take some time to read it. Why does this purpose matter to you?
Okay, so a little overall picture summary of our page of why does this purpose of Windsor UCC matter to me? The overall picture, for most respondents, Windsor UCC's purpose matters because it offers community, support in hardship, and a framework for living out their faith, with many explicitly linking their personal spiritual growth to the church's broader calling to love, welcome, and serve others. So now we can open up for any questions, comments. Jean?
Kayla,
just like to talk to the first one, community and belonging. I've had a couple last 3-4 weeks have been rough, losing my youngest brother. And I can't tell you the people that prayed for him, sent us cards, wished us well, asked how I was doing. It's just unbelievable. If I need something, there's people I go to that help me and my team. It's just, we love it here. This is our church family. That's what we call you. So I'm very proud to be a member of Windsor UCC.
Having been in a Catholic community for 60+ years of my life, when we made a decision to go somewhere else and do something else, it had to be a place that was talking to us, that was calling to us, that we knew was going to be hopefully our final home. And this church has done, as Jean mentioned just recently, but from the day we walked into this place, it was like nothing we'd ever experienced before. And again, that was a huge change for us at this stage of our life, and it was such a blessing to have such a different community for us to be a part of. And we wanted to jump in and get to know people and be a part of what goes on every day. And the more we've been here now, it's our turn, and we get to reach out to newer people that have come into this community. And I just can't imagine our lives. One of the best things that has happened to us since we moved down here from Green Bay was to join this church.
Responses to. Okay.
No, I was just gonna respond to.
Yeah.
Oh, this one, okay. I was just gonna, from what Nancy just finished saying and that, and I've said this to many of you over the few years I've been here, and that is, I love this place too. I was just looking for a place to go to church on Sunday, and I'm here quite often, other than Sunday, so it's great. So thank you.
I want to touch on just one thing that I personally found really, more personal for myself is the modeling faith and providing for family and children. As you all know, I did the Christian education, and to me that was a big thing for my family, my kids, and it still continues to be, and I want this to be kind of a safe place for my kids, and I do feel that it is at this point, and I know that if down the road there's something going on with my kids and they won't come to me and talk about it, we all know that happens, that they would feel safe to come here and talk to any one of you, and we would be like-minded in how to handle the situation. And the fact that I can just put trust out there for my kids is really important to us, for our family. Anybody else? Shy. Don't be shy, come on.
I'm going back to what Dave said earlier. The church, I think, yes, you want a community of family and friends, but I think that one about stretching your own personal faith, I need a church that teaches me. I'll just be honest, I am not a person that gets into the Bible. I should be. I need to do it more. But I need to be encouraged by my church. Yeah, I went the lazy way out. I don't know how to say this. But I need to be taught. I need to be challenged by what my faith is and keep growing. It's not you come to church and you're there. It's a continual growth, and that's what I would like to see from my church.
It's a high priority. Yeah. Personal faith and spiritual growth. Thank you. Okay, move on to the next one. Jean? Passing out.
all set? Okay. Our third question tonight is, what do you want to see most happen at Windsor UCC? And the overall takeaway from the responses we got in the listening sessions was the dominant unifying theme is the call to become open and affirming, paired closely with hopes for growth, especially young families, and a need to heal internal divisions so the congregation can move forward together with cleared, shared purpose. And I want to read to you at our council meeting last week that, or no, it was 2 months ago. Yep, or 2 weeks ago, okay. It was based on the responses from the mission and vision listening sessions. The dominant unifying theme is the call to be open and affirming. Luann made a motion that the council begin educational sessions on open and affirming, and Lori seconded the motion. So now I'll open it up to any questions and thoughts that you all have.
I'd like to share something.
Yep.
And it was in regard to a survey that the village and also DeForest or just the village. We received a copy of it, and it basically was that we live in a modern time in regard to there's not too many mom, dad, Skippy the dog, and 2 kids in our community. That there are a number of single adult households. There is a number of unrelated, maybe 2 adults. There are persons basically in any and all marital statuses. And I just wanted to make that point because the village did the effort of making a survey, and I think it was fairly complete, at least for Windsor. And just to kind of keep it in mind. I mean, all people are important, but not all people fit a particular household composition. That's all I would like to share.
Ooh, this is gonna be tough. As far as the open and affirming goes, I think we have no business going down that road. Anybody's welcome. Anybody can come to church they want. But when we start marrying LGBTs, Qs and all that, that's all through humanity. It's been one way. In the last 50 years, all of a sudden, we got it wrong for thousands of years. I can't support it.
And this is a tough one, and we grapple with it. I am open to absolutely everybody. I want to be as open as possible to all of us. We are all coming before the Lord with our own issues, and to get us in here is wonderful. But I don't affirm or align with all behaviors. And that's not just the LGBTQ. I would have a hard time aligning myself with many other things that I think okay, just here's one. I mean, the statistics for pornography are that 80% of men in the age of 18 to 30-something practice it regularly. Now, and a big percent of those people come to church. I'm just saying I can't align myself with a behavior that I don't agree with. So my two words there for us across the board is affirming and aligning with, and then still being very open. And boy, I want to be open.
I would be delighted to fill this church with every sinner on the planet, and we all are. So I'm just saying that there's a tension there that says if we fly the flag that is saying that everyone here is affirming and aligning, and I guess those are the two words that I want to be careful of, because it doesn't represent everything. Open, unequivocally, right? Just everybody, and I would do anything. I would host them all. I will invite them to my dinner, my table. No question about it. I've got lots of friends that belong to that community. We've opened our homes to them and everything, and I love them, absolutely love them. And there isn't a kid in the middle school, high school that isn't affected by our culture right now in this climate. And I just want to be really careful that we're truth-telling for young kids and trying to allow for other people and really being straight on what we can support, yes, but not affirm and align something to something. Is that, I don't know, it's touched here.
I can give you an example that happened in our church. As you all know, I have my 2-minute warning at the end of the church. Is one of the reasons I like to sing, is because I look out there and see somebody that I don't know, and the next 2 minutes I'm going to spend finding that person and talking to them. Well, I saw a fellow here, this was last fall, that I had never seen before. And so I struck up a conversation with him, and he said that he worked for FedEx, and they have a program where you can travel all over the country, work a month at FedEx in whatever city you want if they have an opening. And that's how he was doing his travel. But he said, I love to go to church. And he said, I went to that big church out by the UW Stadium, and he said, which we all know are very, very forward about the LGBTQ community. And he said, I could never go back to that church again. These other people are downright weird. And now that's what this guy said. He came in here, you know, and so my only, I guess, question is, are we keeping people out? That guy should feel he should be able to come to our church. Are we keeping those kinds of people out? So I just offer that a comment.
I just want to say, if we are so open, which we are, we don't have a lot of people from that persuasion attending. If we just affirm that, is that going to mean that they're going to start up a relationship here and really want to come? You would hope so, but I don't know. You know, I just don't know if we proclaiming that is going to promote people if they aren't already seeking a church situation. I don't know. Yeah.
This is really hard because I don't usually talk in front of people. I have a son who's gay. That son was baptized and confirmed to the rights, right? Why doesn't he have the right to get married here? I said, why doesn't he have the right to get married here? If he was confirmed, he was baptized here. This whole church took a vow to raise him, and he was accepted. But now you're telling me because he's gay? I'm not telling you. No, I'm not just looking at you. I'm just saying, how does that matter? I mean, why? And just the verbiage that's being used right now, it's definitely not open. Not open at all, not even welcoming. He is just as important and just has as much going as my other two children. other children I know here. I'm feeling that welcome right now. Just hearing how we're saying we're welcoming, we're saying we're open, but we're not. If he's not allowed to do everything everybody else is doing, how can we be calling that opening and accepting? I don't know. My heart is going about 1,000 miles an hour right now, and I don't want to say anything that's gonna hurt any feelings. I'm not good at confrontation. I'm not good at a lot of words, but this one hits close to home and to my heart.
So this was a fact-seeking mission, you could say, on Pastor Tammy's part, in order to write a mission and vision statement for our church so that when we put together the committee that goes out to find our next pastor, the biggest thing on this right here is number 4, finding a strong, compatible pastoral leadership. That person's gonna have to deal with this job. And so I hope that whoever is on this committee truly takes into consideration some of the things that were said tonight and the feelings that are very divided in this church. I came back after being so upset with the church over the pandemic. I came back because I had faith in what I was hearing, and I was welcome back. And Matthew really wanted to be confirmed here. I will leave again if we can't do this right. And I do love this church family, but I won't stay if I feel like you feel.
Hi, I just wanted to, looking deeply at the overall takeaway here, and I know it's written by AI, right? So it is what it is, but it just shows that it couldn't have been written by a human because the three things don't necessarily hang together. In my opinion, if you go forward with this, I mean, just showing all the difference of opinions and how strongly people's differences of opinions are on this topic, I don't know how you can do both that and a need to heal division so the congregation can move forward together. I mean, it's very difficult to do both of those things, and I just wanted to acknowledge the juxtaposition there. Is there anyone else before we go back to people who've already shared?
I guess I would just like to say that I feel like there's fear that I'm hearing from people talking tonight, and I don't know where the fear is coming from. What are we afraid of to go down this road? And I also get a sense that there's almost a sense that people are worried that there's going to be a solicitation that's going to happen if we are open and affirming that people are going to come in and they're going to try to recruit people to be a certain way or do a certain thing because that's the way they are. And I don't understand this, and I know that there's conflict here, but those are the two things that I feel that I'm sensing in some of the comments that are being made that again, there's.
I'm going to go to Caitlin and then to. So after hearing points of view on both sides, I think it's important for us to also feelings are going to get raised, right? Everybody's hearts, just like Sally was saying, are going to start pumping from their feelings. They're going to have strong feelings. I'm right there with you. I think we need to take a step back and remember we have to go through some educating because, just be totally honest, Sally, I was under the understanding that anyone could get married here as long as the pastor agreed. So that is misinformation that some of us don't understand why one or the other works a certain way. So I think there's a lot of misunderstandings and obviously divide. And I think we all just need to remember that even if we disagree, we can do it respectfully. And I don't know, I guess if we're welcoming, no one should be feeling threatened right now, in my opinion. Like, this is just talk, we're just exploring. So I just want everybody to just remember, take deep breaths, and remember that this is a long process.
If you want to see the future, I'd encourage everyone to go to UCC's Open and Affirming Coalition website and read the material there.
Anyone else before? I'll get back to you. One more time. We're gonna, let's just remember too, this is really the beginning conversations we're having, so.
That's pretty much what I was gonna say. You'll remember when Jean read the motion, it was to begin education. That was it, like find resources, both sides, whatever. I'm sorry, I don't know how to use one of these things. To just start the education process. We're not making a decision tonight. This isn't where we're going. You know, we're just offering some sessions on this because we do know that it's not an open and shut kind of thing. But I can also tell you the quick story about my daughter-in-law. She came a number of times with her little kids to our church. And when she found out the church was not open and affirming, she has a really, really good friend that is gay. She was raised in the Methodist church, so she immediately found a Methodist church that's open and affirming in Sun Prairie, and that's where she and my grandsons go to church. So that's a family that's within walking distance that we lost because of not being open and affirming.
We've been discussing this for several meetings the last few years on council, and that's as far as it goes. We discuss it, we stop, we discuss it, we stop. This time we decided, no, we're going to at least explore what does this mean. We'll do the educational sessions. Doesn't mean we're going that way, doesn't mean we're not. But I think a lot of us have misconceptions, as Caitlin said. What does the affirming part mean? And that's all we're doing for now, is we're going to start doing some education. We're going to explore the options. When we get to a search committee, it is going to have to be in our profile. Are we not? Are we? Or maybe the in-between part is we are in the process of examining this. We don't know where it's going to end. But that's at least being honest with all the candidates who may or may not wish to come here.
Okay, we'll move on after your comment.
I remember in, what was it, 92 or whatever, Pastor McDonald said during the, it was Desert Storm, and he said that I cannot come down on one side or the other because I am going to have to minister to both who might have a son or daughter in the military. And so I just reiterate to what you said, Hope, in that this for a pastor is going to be a tough thing that they're going to have to deal with.
Just a quick comment. This is interesting. It's going to be a challenge. But I would just put out to you, I think that this is going to be a big test for us as a member of this church. Are we going to take our sand pails and go home if we don't get what we believe in? Are we going to stick it out and work together as we've been trying and saying we're trying to do to be better, to be negotiators with each other, to give each other a bit of grace? It's going to be a good test to see if we have made any strides at all since the COVID and everything that ensued during that time.
Yes, thank you all for your thoughts and comments. And I don't know how to say it. I guess there's one word, Everett. That in our family, well, you've all heard about Everett, and probably sick of hearing about Everett. But anyway, Everett is my grandson. His fathers are my son and my son-in-law Brian. And growing up and many of my adult years, I never dreamed that this would be part of our family. That, you know what I mean? First of all, that, you know, we had a pretty good idea. My son was gay for, you know, a long, long time, but, you know, that he would get married. And when that wedding was coming up and that it was, you know, it's like, okay, what are people going to say about this? And especially I worried about family and close friends and that. The support was overwhelming, you know, and that kind of thing. And then they wanted to adopt a child. And that's, to me, the best thing that's ever happened to our family. And my father, who recently passed away, was so accepting and that kind of thing. In that generation, that wasn't real common and that kind of thing. And it's just, and I wish Mom was still here too to meet that little boy. But so anyway, but you all have to, everybody's got their opinion, and that's why we're doing all this and looking for everybody's 2 cents worth. And that's all good to hear. But I just, you know, I just think of Everett and that best thing that ever happened. So, thank you.
Who has the next question? Yeah, so what would need to change to see this happen? Did we assign, I think you used to both of them, yeah. Yep, I think you agreed to both. Yeah, there wasn't another. You were brave enough to do the second one, right? Okay, so what would need to change? You can read it to the microphone.
Okay, so the question is, what would need to change to see this happen? So I'll give you some time to read through all these responses. Still have 4 people. Filters over here.
All right. Yep. Oops.
Okay, yeah. So the overall picture from these comments and questions, the responses reveal 2 intertwined priorities: becoming more theologically and relationally open, especially regarding full LGBTQ inclusion, while also becoming more externally visible and engaged with the surrounding community, all underpinned by a call for individual members to increase their own participation and willingness to change. So, anybody has any questions or comments?
I'll go.
Yeah.
I think if you look through all 4 responses, you really do see this running theme of, visibility and outreach in the community, along with this increased participation and personal commitment. I mean, it's said a little bit different on each one, but I know that's something that I'm looking for as my son goes off to college. I'm sitting at home. So I'm like, ooh, maybe now I can do the turkey dinner. Maybe I can do more than just be the Sunday school teacher. Those kind of things, and really get to know more people in this community. So I think, some of these running themes are going to be very important as we write our mission and vision, and especially when we put out for a pastor that they know that that is one of the real positive themes and things that we want to see. And can we get creative and find things to keep hope busy?
Keep hope.
I guess we have our mission statement, right?
To Hope's statement, congregational life, some of the efforts that we're trying to do in 2026 is more events, outreach to the community, and events here at the church. The concerts we're going to be doing. We just talked to someone last week. Shane and I are working on getting the Red Cross here for blood donations. The visibility from the road, we're getting quotes on updating our sign, and we've cut the tree down out there so you can see what's going on here. So we've got a lot of ideas. There's a wine and cheese carving thing we're talking about doing. We've got an event coming up this fall where we've invited 2 other churches to join us at the church, and we're going to have music out back. So we're trying a bunch of new things. We installed game night earlier this year, and then we took a break for summer, but we're going to wind that up again this fall. So we're trying to do things to get people together, to get to Hope's points, to get to know each other better, to reach out to the community and tell people what we're about. And I think we've got a nice story to tell. So.
Thank you. Okay. Others? Anyone else? Okay, let's, good?
Sit down
Yeah,
again.
yeah, you can sit down. Sorry about that, Jean. All right, so then we're on the last one, and Dwight's got that one, and it's what does it mean to make a commitment to Windsor UCC?
Just stick with one question at a time.
Okay.
Here you go, ready? All right. So again, the question was, what does it mean to make a commitment to Windsor UCC? What does that look like? And the overall picture or overall summary reads as, a commitment at Windsor UCC is consistently understood as a holistic mix of presence, attending worship, participation, serving/volunteering, provision, financial giving, and personal growth, deepening faith and passing it on. All are held together by a strong emphasis on relationship, welcome, and community care. So, I can open that up. One thing I just start out to say is, since being moderator, we really get to see a bit of the whole picture, and at least in my view, I think the volunteer, the participation by members, I think it's good. I mean, I really feel that as being a longtime member here, it's been about as good as I've seen at Windsor, but that doesn't mean it can't be better. And, you know, we have certain gaps, or, you know, we need certain volunteers in areas that we can always do better. We're a smaller church now. Our membership is now roughly 200. So a smaller church, you need that participation. With a modest staff like we have, there are a lot of things that go on here, and we really do have, I think, a good base here of volunteers. So with that, other comments? Not one comment.
I would say that I grew up in a mildly, if not very religious family. And I went to church a little bit, and I felt like, maybe things were lacking for my daughters. So I started coming here, and I felt welcome right away. And to kind of bring it all back around on the bigger issue that everybody's thinking about right now, I would like the community of the church to hopefully work through this issue to show, one, for all of us, and two, that my daughters can see a working, active church, and how I'm not going to say compromise, but how people can get, come up with solutions to an issue that people have different thoughts on. So that'd be my thought.
Other comments? Okay, well, I'm going to wrap this up. I'll start it out, and Tammy may have some thoughts. First of all, I want to give a big thanks to Pastor Tammy for her work in coordinating and planning this. This went far beyond, I think the last search process, for instance, and I don't know when we haven't updated our mission and vision statement for like forever. So I think this is something that needed to happen, and it needed to happen for the very reason that as the search committee is put together, they need to have a clear understanding of in writing the church profile and putting this together, so that when they go out and search for a new pastor, we have a pretty good idea of what we can present to them. Just a detail, this is being recorded, and obviously this is only a small part of our congregation, so this will be available on the website for those to listen to this and and then we'll communicate that out, obviously, so that they see this along with the handout, the summary that you've received tonight. So what's next? Well, as you heard Jean state, the council passed the resolution that basically that we would like to do educational sessions on open and affirming. And I think we've kicked around the idea it likely will happen this fall with maybe a 4-week session on this, and it perhaps will be led by someone other than our own membership. It'll be someone maybe from the conference. So that is, and to Lori's point, to Shane's point, this is meant as an educational sessions. We aren't deciding this anytime soon. This is something that will start a process for looking at open and affirming. I did want to mention a couple other things. I think, if you looked at what was written here, there was a lot of, the responses were rich. I mean, there was a lot of thought given out for people who came to these sessions, and I think through this you picked up on that. So a couple of the things that will happen next is we will begin to look at a draft of a mission and vision statement based on this. But there's plenty within this that we can begin to develop that, but that will take a little bit of time. And as noted, this is really going to be important for us when we go to selecting our pastor. And the other thing I did want to say is that this was the second kind of round of listening sessions. So the first round, there were we haven't stood pat, so to speak, in terms of just waiting for the next pastor. If you recall, there was loud and clear that we wanted to reinvigorate our youth, our Christian education program. While we hired Caitlin, and we continue to work with Caitlin, and we'll be meeting actually this week to talk about the Sunday school program, what the adult classes, and maybe perhaps a little tweaking of her PD to reflect maybe some changes that Caitlin envisions. So that's one of the things we're looking at. And that relates to reaching out into the community. I think we've made some efforts, as Jean had alluded to, including Dan, Jean's husband, Dan, who came to us, and we will be hosting a September concert here that will, Jean is it's a pianist from the UW. And so it's just these kind of things that there's a number of things that we have going on, and so this is a process, and this is what we're working through. So, Tammy, other thoughts?
You got it good? Yeah, of course. Can I get the microphone? Sorry. No, you can. Did you take the mic?
Right there.
Oh.
Hullabaloo. I was just going to ask, on the mission and vision front specifically, do you have any idea of, like, sometimes you start a process, it's good to know what with the end in mind, right? Some missions and vision statements are like this, like an entire page of bulleted things, and it's just sort of turn this in. And some are like a concise sentence. Do you know, like, where we're trying to end up on the map? Like, how much refining and drafting, what's that iterative cycle going to look like? Have you
Ron,
thought of-
it'll be somewhere in between. No, it's a good question because you've seen good mission and vision statements, and maybe you've had experience writing them, but, and then some that, you know, we've looked at some, and so, you know, a draft, and that isn't something that'll be done in just a small, that'll be maybe put together with a sharing with the congregation and letting people take a stab, you know, at seeing it. But your points are well taken. You know, as Tammy has said, are you seeing good mission statements are pretty concise, all right? And then, you know, then the vision becomes, you know, they're obviously more written into that. That's my take on, and I haven't done a lot of them, so, yeah.
The mission statement should fit on the side of a bus.
Yeah,
So it's very concise, and, you know, and then the vision statement is sort of the legs to it in the next couple of years. We can't do everything, but in the next 2 years, what might we really put some effort into to live out the mission statement?
I just wanted to know if, when this mission statement is written, is the council going to be the one to decide, or is the congregation the one to decide on the final?
Good question, Carol. I guess I don't have the absolute, I mean, the council may recommend to the congregation, and then we may take a vote on it. I don't know. I guess that might be a way to do it, but I don't know. Yeah. Yeah, so, what would you like to see, Carol?
I'd like to have the congregation decide.
Okay.
I know what I would hope we don't do. I hope we don't have a statement presented by the council and then in a meeting we all wordsmith on the spot. I think that will be a really poor way to go, and sometimes we end up doing that with congregational, like with the, you know, amendment changes and things like that, and that can be a real stumbling block for something like this that's going to end up on the side of the bus. So I hope we don't do that.
Yeah. Okay.
I envision more listening sessions.
Yeah, right.
So
We didn't comment on that, but this is a beginning. What we laid this out, people have seen this for the first time. Some kind of follow-up. We haven't detailed the follow-up, whether it's follow-up discussions. There's a relatively small group here of the membership, so we definitely would want to, we want feedback. That is one thing I didn't mention. If you've seen this, when I go home, usually I think of a couple more things I want to have said or didn't want to say in front of a big group, but you contact myself or Tammy, we will pass that on to council and share the thoughts that we receive on this. But we definitely, I think there will be follow-up in terms of whether it's follow-up meeting to discuss more on this or just how we handle that. That'll be discussed at council.
This. As far as the education and the more classes that you had for us, I just want to, we just came through such a division in our church. I would hope, and now there seems to be quite a division between this topic. The education classes that you're going to present to us, I hope would present both sides. I hope, above all, it's biblical and what would God want us to do, you know. That's all.
Well, I just want to thank Dwight and the council. I think we are at a level of communication that we really haven't experienced before. The communication, the opportunity to participate in sessions, the opportunity to come tonight and get caught up. There are the newsletter, the electronic messages that go out, the written forms, just talking with each other. This hasn't happened here before. And I am very grateful for that. And I, again, hope that we've learned something. And that whether we always get our way or not, we are all part of this endeavor. and we can all have a right to share our opinions, but to do so in a professional and caring manner.
Wrap it up. Just a reminder, it's an honor to be here, to be your interim pastor, and we are open to hearing different perspectives, of course. I also want to remind us all that, except for me, everybody here are volunteers, and they all have large lives outside of church, just like you all do. And so I just want you to, I know you know that, but they're really working hard. And some of the stuff they're working on is very boring, tweaking constitutional language and whatever. Maybe some people think that's wonderful, but we spend a lot of time trying to clean up process. And I think that's really beautiful, but it's a lot of work. So anyway, remember us, pray for us. Watch that spirit of mistrust that might be brewing in you. Be careful with that. That can happen when we have differences of opinions. So we pray and we try to lift up our best selves. So I'll offer a blessing. Spirit of love and compassion, we are grateful for this time to be together, to practice talking with each other on topics that we disagree with and on things we wholeheartedly agree with. We're grateful for the history of this church, for 167, 168 years of its existence because of your spirit that lives here and has provided mission and vision throughout the decades of leadership here and members. So we're grateful for the witness of this church and this community, and we are grateful that you entrust us to be your witnesses here today and to this community. In Jesus' name, amen. All right, thank you, everybody.